All right, episode 181. I'm here. Wow. I'm joined by Nate Dawkins, who has
Yo,
always been on the show. You've been on the show like 3 times now?
3 times. I'm trying to get better each time. I feel like I haven't brought forth uh good content yet, but we'll get there.
Man, get out of here. Get out of here. This is gonna be fun. My man Nate a little saucy right
Yeah.
now, and he came up with this. We were gonna talk about something else, and then we decided on this topic, and it's an interesting topic that I'm surprised I didn't really bring up yet. But it's male perspectives on online dating. So, I
Mhm.
have like a semi-neutral view on online dating, but I'm kind of interested to see what motivated you to suggest this topic.
All right. Every time I talk with my brothers, and brothers meaning like men of color, I feel like, no offense to you, but I feel like a lot of white men don't have much issues with online dating.
All right,
A lot of the,
I'm
a
gonna
lot of
cut
the
your
ones I talk
ass.
to, y'all get y'all cake and y'all run. Y'all get y'all cake and y'all run. But on my side and some of my brothers, and them light skinned niggas too, like, bruh, they be taking the cake and running. But the rest are I don't want to do this light skin versus dark skin thing because I'm really not into that. But it's just from the conversations that I've been having.
Right. So
But
so like
I know it's way more even and spread out. I know y'all have your own issues. I'm just just speaking from the people that I've spoken to.
So wait, but you
But
brought something interesting up. So like, why do you what's causing that perception, or maybe it is a fact that I'm just unaware of. Like, what's causing like,
I
um,
don't think it's a fact. I think it was just I spoken to um 4 5 white men, and they said like Tinder, you know, they have great luck on. Same thing with what's the other one?
Hinge,
I don't want to say not Hinge,
Bumble?
not Hinge per se, and I won't say Bumble either. There's another one. I can't believe I forgot about it, but it's
I
not really talked about much. But yeah, they say that they're able to pick up girls easy. And like I always, they're just like, "Oh, bro, like, you just gotta shoot them with a hey." And I'm just like, "There's no," and I'm like, "There's no way you could shoot them with a hey and just get a response like that." And I'm over here writing like full out. I'm not writing paragraphs, but it's just like a cool sentence that's relating to what they're posting to, or something that I, gravitate towards, as a reaction to what they have posted on their profile. And what I'm seeing is just like, and I look at their profiles too.
hmm.
It's just a whole bunch of just like, I don't, just drunk shit. Like a whole bunch of poor picture taking. Like everything's like blurry, and they're just making dumb faces. And I'm just like, maybe it's the confidence.
Hmm.
I think it's the confidence.
Is it like so? Did the people that you spoke to on both ends, did they pay? Did like the white guys you speak to? Did they pay? Did they pay for the
No,
gold membership? Okay,
no,
really?
no.
Hmm.
They didn't pay for the gold membership.
See, that's
They
interesting.
actually, since they've made it, they've gotten like 30 or 40. The thing is, they usually belong to frats,
That oh
right?
yeah, now that's a class thing too. So like
Yeah, okay.
that's a class
I
thing.
like that you brought that up. I like that you brought that up. A class thing. Can you speak on that a little bit more?
So basically, like the only people that could really afford like fraternity money are people that like their parents pay for it for them, or like they're able to afford they're able to afford to pay for fraternity on their own, either because their parents pay
Oh,
for everything else and they just need to pay their dues like once, twice a year, or
I
in the rare
forgot that they
case,
paid.
they actually bust their ass and they're able to pay for everything. Um, which I respect those people, but it's mostly a class thing because like a lot of people in fraternities, their parents pay for their dues, and hookup culture is a luxury culture, so you're able to just like just being able to
You're
have
saying a lot of important shit, and I just need you to just we're gonna get back on that topic, but I just want to mark it right now. You said hookup culture is a what?
it's a luxury culture. It's a
It's a
culture of its
luxury
own.
culture. I want to talk about that later, but continue.
So basically, like people that are in fraternities, like it's different than just like hooking up in college. You know what I mean?
Uh huh.
But like fraternity hooking up, it's like it's built into the culture. Like you have sex with people, you go there and you have sex. And to a degree, it's built into the college culture too. Basically, like people in that environment, because it's the environment expects and breeds to have sex and to
Mhm.
continuously get women or guys, you know, naturally they're going to be getting, laid because like they put in their bio, oh, I'm in this fraternity, or the girls and the guys will see each other on the app and be like, oh, she's in tri-fi. Wow, that's bad. In tri-sig, or he's in chi-fi, or he's in APD. So it's just kind of like that built-in familiarity, and it's like, oh, like we're all in fraternities and sororities to get ahead for friends and
I
to
think
get girls and guys.
I want to another key word. You said familiar. Oh, where's
Familiarity.
my tongue? There. Say that one more time.
Familiarity.
Familiarity. Okay, there we go.
Those Jello shots
Bro, this
kicking.
shit, this shit hitting quick. um, yeah, this is why I don't drink. It's a Jello shot, and like this shit is strong as hell. Um, all right, all right, so I want to put that in the future too. I want to talk about that again. Because familiarity. I think that's also another huge important aspect of it.
Yeah, it
But
definitely is. Because at least in my experience with dating apps, like I like it wasn't until I got Tinder Gold that I actually like exploded in matches. So like,
really,
oh yeah,
so what does Tinder Gold provide?
unlimited likes, 5 super likes a week, and you get like a boost a week, so basically like you're put to the top of everyone's feed once a week.
Really?
Yeah. So like that's the thing, is like if you're not in a fraternity, you have to do that to kind of do that. The problem is I don't do that down here cuz I actually got banned from Tinder. So I actually have like a grudge against Tinder. Um
How did you get banned from Tinder? I mean,
well,
I think I remember, but I think um,
so
the world might want to
what
know.
happened was I was a gold member for a while, and
Okay.
I'm always very polite on Tinder, so
All right.
there was no interaction that necessarily struck me as, like, oh, I definitely got banned for that, you know. Um but they took my money one month and then a day later they just like suspended my account. So I was like, "Oh, okay."
What?
Yeah. So I was just like, "All right, that's kind of crazy."
So
I
you
mean,
didn't
like,
even know why?
no. And, for people to think I'm bullshitting you, like, I will tell you the time I got banned from one of my Bumble accounts. And that's because there was a girl that was insulting my mustache. She said, you look like just being nasty. And I said, your obesity is a national security issue. And then I got
I'm
banned.
crying.
It's like you can make fun of my face, but I can't make fun of you.
Yeah, don't throw stones in a glass house. Yeah, stupid
Exactly.
games win stupid prizes.
Exactly. If you don't like how someone looks, you keep
Yeah.
your mouth shut and you keep it pushing.
Yeah. No, but if you want to speak on it, speak on it. But if they say something back, respect it, cause you put that energy out there, it's gonna boomerang.
Yeah, like there's a lot of like this kind of just goes into snitch culture too, that cancel culture breeds, where it's just kind of like, oh, he
Yeah.
hurt my feelings or she hurt my feelings, so I'm gonna report them to the social media or to the authority, in charge, and I'm gonna,
Yeah.
so it's kind of
Yeah.
like it's stupid. But to get back to the original point, um, which was the whole paying thing. Again, like it comes to like you have to do that to get ahead because like the people in the fraternities, it's like it's already built in. So that's probably wise because
Gotcha.
people that you talk to, your brothers, like they didn't they probably didn't pay for that, and they had a normal college experience like me, where it's just kind of like you met people at bars, you met people in class, you met people at extracurriculars, and most of the time you
Yep.
met them on Tinder.
Yeah. Honestly, with college, you have person to person like interaction. So I feel like that makes Tinder way easier because especially in that community, you have like people that are just like, yo, like, oh, I know him in real life. That nigga is fire. Or he's probably like, oh, he's trash. Or like, oh, he knows this person. You don't want him. You want his friend. You know. So there's a lot of like community, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like you really, talking to a stranger.
Yeah, that's the
Especially
thing
if you
too.
open, your radius.
That's the thing too, is that like you don't know, like now you have to actually, not that you didn't have to have your guard up before, but like you have to have it up even more so because it's like you're not like if it doesn't say Sunio because we went to SUNY Oneonta. If it didn't say SUNY Oneonta or Hartwick, it was like, who is this person?
Oh yeah, you're a townie, and it's just like, nah, we don't want you. And that's why I was just like, yo, I want to speak on that familiar. Oh shoot,
Familiarity.
familiarity, familiarity.
Next
So
episode
practice.
is getting Nate to pronounce words drunk.
Yes, yes. Familiarness. Yeah. So yeah, like if I don't know you, if there's nothing like familiar about you, it kind of brings like a mystery to you, and that could either be a good thing or a bad thing. I feel like in the case for women, like I feel like it leans more towards like a bad thing, because it's just like, nah, like I really have no idea who this person is, so I'm not really interested in this person at all, right?
Yeah. That's why most women see it as a joke, kind of.
Oh, the Tinder thing?
Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, all of it. It's just kind of like a joke.
Yeah.
Now, there's also the other end of it that isn't talked about. There's also male sexual assault, abduction and human trafficking of men. So, and that's not to take away from the exponentially larger amount of women that are sexually assaulted, trafficked, and harmed.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
What?
Men, men are
Yeah.
being napped on Tinder and Hinge.
Yeah. It's just not really talked about. I mean, even in real life, like I remember I was walking out of a jewelry store and I was like, there was a guy in there that I was kind of just talking to, and he started following me to my car, and like I had to run to my car to get away from the guy. Or there's just like creepy people that you meet online.
What?
Yeah, dude, like it happens.
After men, not like little, like it's not like we're little boys anymore. Like I'm 25. You're how old?
23.
23. Like, aren't they like afraid that we'll be like, we're secretly black belts or something? Like that's real
um
crazy.
let's look up human trafficking statistics of men in America. Let's look up the statistics for fun. Um,
Honestly, that don't sound like fun at all.
it's a
And
joke. It's a
out of
joke.
sight, out of mind. Because if you bring up some statistics, I promise you, I'll probably be single for the rest of my life. And I've
Yeah.
already considered that like a lot lately.
Let's see here.
Um,
Um, this is from 2019, but for every 10,000 people living in the world, 54 become enslaved in some form of human trafficking. 25% of victims are children. Do, 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 do.
wait. Those are world statistics. You
These
don't have New York
are
statistics.
these are I believe. Wait a minute. Let me look at this one statistic. 9% of human trafficking across the country. There we go. Um, let's see. Nevada has like. Oh wait, no, that's kind of weird. Where is it? Texas
I feel like this
trafficking.
is something we're gonna have to go back on because, like, a quick research, we could pull up like results that, just for all my science majors out there, there's just a lot of like
Well, if
time
we
that
look
has to
at the
go into
global,
research when it comes to this.
if we just do global statistics, right? It says here from etactics.com, that 9% of human trafficking victims are men and boys, and this is from humanrightsfirst.org. So, not
I
it's
mean,
like
that's global though. There's so many different factors that go into like global population.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm
And
just
then you have
saying,
to think
like,
about like, was that this year? Was that over the span of the last 7 years, or was that a study that was done years ago? How relevant is that data in the changes that have occurred in today's society?
right, and it's the thing is to like again, like I'm not trying to detract from like women because they are the most trafficked people, in the world. But like when you look at a big problem, you don't see the other part of the problem until the big problem's out of the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely do. But yeah, let's get back to this class thing because you're gonna give me
Yeah.
nightmares with this stuff.
So,
Um,
yeah, go ahead.
the class part, right? Um, I never realized how expensive fraternities were. Um, and I'd like to include myself in that. My mom said she was willing to pay if I pledged. Well, I'm probably not going to be pledging now because
Yeah,
I
or
already graduated. But I wanted to be an alpha. It's one of the D9 fraternities. Um, it was a choice that took me a long time to like, come to I guess stand by and be sure in. But my mom said she was going to pay for that. Um, and I come from a middle class family. I had the wonderful opportunity of having parents that bust their ass to make it out the Bronx. And I was able to grow up in the suburbs. Um, I don't look at it as a privilege. I look at it as my parents worked hard and they they got to where they got to. And yeah, my mom, she was just like, yo, like I struggled. I don't want you to struggle. So yeah, let's grow up in let's put you in, these nice schools and stuff like that.
it's
Growing up in that
awesome.
environment though, and this is why I say I don't look at it as a privilege. Every environment has different types of dangers, right?
Mm.
And I feel like people, I don't want to get too deep into this, but like people like they view it as like, oh, like if I had money, I wouldn't. If I came from a wealthier family, I wouldn't have these problems that I have right now with struggling with working for everything. You're right. You would not have those problems, but the other problems that you would come against is is as equally as dangerous in a different aspect. You have to be smart when it comes to being in wealthy environments. Like you have to be smart 100% of the time. I'm not saying that it's different when it comes to people that are in lower working class or just in growing up in poverty. Obviously, you have to be smart there, but there's a different. It's just a different environment. You can't you like the same way like I can't tell people what it's like. I can't give people advice when it's like you know enduring poverty. I also can't people also can't tell me what it's like enduring like that middle class you know experience, especially like in the suburbs.
It's
um
it's psychologically, like imagine like, you're super wealthy and like your parents just give you everything, or you grow up riding around in a Lexus or a Mercedes.
and
Psychologically,
it's the thing is though, it's never that simple though. It's never that as simple as, oh, my daddy bought me this, my life is great.
well, it handicaps
Gifts
you is
are
what I was trying
often.
to get to. It
Sorry.
handicaps you. No, that lifestyle handicaps you as an independent adult.
Oh, no, it's not. And like I'm saying, it's not even that either. like
So,
like the same way I said, like for me as a middle class person to speak on what it's like, you know, living in poverty, I can't do that. And I feel like it's the same way when it comes to us people, in middle class. When it comes to speaking on issues that people that grew up in wealth have. I think I've spoken to only one person that has grown up wealthy, and the reality of it was parents weren't available because believe it or not, people that are extremely wealthy they don't spend at least from their standpoint they don't spend as much time with their kids in quality time. There might be a lot of like times in which they spend time with their kids, but like the quality of that time is very different. It's like it's it's not. There's just something that's really off about it. So love is shown through those gifts, right?
mm,
And then obviously, when you grow up in that environment where you show love as giving people gifts, showing love through how much money you're willing to spend on people. And again, I'm speaking from a middle class perspective. So, not speaking from a middle class perspective, but from what one person has told me. You know, it completely changes your understanding of how relationships work. Right?
Mm.
I have a friend here, and so since they're my friend, I'm going to show my love, and I want this person to express their love to me, through the sharing of material gifts. Um, and sometimes it's actually they don't want gifts because it reminds them of where they came from. But all of these things that we have just spoken about, even though it seems like a separate topic, it all plays into the online dating culture.
Mm.
Because the only reason that we went online is, well, the only reason I had went online is because and some of my other brothers too, there's no real communication in the I don't want to say the physical world, but in the world outside of the internet.
Mm.
You can't walk up to a girl like you used to. And when we was in middle school, we saw a cute girl at the mall, and we'd follow them and just like call them names, and that was our way of flirting. And you know, you can't do that anymore because now it's just like, why are you in my space? Who are you? I don't know you. Rape whistle. Um,
Mm.
Rape whistle is a bit dramatic, but it's just like it's very scary, and it's more like emotionally scarring to do something like talk to somebody person to person, especially if you don't know them.
I see what you're
Whereas on a
saying.
dating app, yes, on a dating app, there's an exchange of information first, right? And that exchange of information is like, hi, my name is Betty, and I look like this. These are the things I gravitate towards, and this is what I'm looking for. And they'll either say that through the words or through their pictures. People don't like to say that. People don't like, when I say this, but like, a lot of the way we communicate is in our posture.
Hmm.
You know, if I see someone, right, and they're presenting, I have this is my secret, and I told my brothers this like 2 days ago. The 80-20, the 20%, 80% rule, right? If
Yeah.
20% of the picture is just your face and 80% of it is your body, right? And you're posing in a way that you're showing off what you have, all right? You're communicating to me that this is what you offer in the relationship. And whether it be a long-term relationship, whether it be a short-term relationship, right?
Mm.
Now, if I see somebody with, 80% of the picture is their face and 20% of the picture is, something else, then they're communicating to me that, hey, like, what to expect in this relationship is me. And me is bingo, my face. I'm not afraid of um, necessarily sharing myself as much as somebody that is showing 80% of their body in that picture.
I think
Um,
it also depends how they're showing their body because to me, if 80% of it is your
and that's why I
face,
said posture.
well, oh, okay. Because I was gonna say like, if you're
Yeah,
showing 80% of your face, it probably means you're fat. But like, continue.
I'm crying. Nah, there's that, and like I said, posture is also important because posture plays a role in the facial expressions too. In psychology, we learn about microfacial features. These things are so important. Babies can look at microfacial features in adults' face and know whether somebody is dangerous or whether somebody is not a threat, or whether somebody is not a threat. And the thing
Mm.
is, um, over time, they learn that mommy and daddy protect them, so I don't need to use um, these pick up on body language, as much as I did as a baby, and I feel like in school we had relearned. Not I feel like in school we relearned how to examine somebody's microfacial features, and we actually study microfacial features. We have pictures and diagrams of them to know when somebody's threatening, when somebody's non-threatening. So I use all this information when I'm, on these dating apps, I'm looking at these girls, and I'm just like, all right, even though you're only showing your face, what your facial structure is telling me is that you're very, very insecure about something,
Mm.
and I don't want to automatically assume it's your body, but you're hiding something. And so I'm literally like, now I'm psychoanalyzing. I don't even know if that's the right term, but like I'm judging every single person's face, and I taught my brothers how to do the same thing too, because we're all just like, why are we finding people on these dating apps that don't know what they want, or don't want relationships, or are ghosting us? Why are we connecting with these people? And I'm tired of reading about all this pop psychology about, like, oh, you attract this and you attract that. Like,
You know what it is?
every year there's going to be some, not every year, every decade there's going to be like a new religion or a new
Mm.
thought pattern or a new mindset that's going to
Facts.
resurface because it's already been there before. And they're going to be like, oh, this is it. And like, a lot of the wisdom that I get is from old people. Like, I spend a whole lot of time talking to old people in nursing homes, um, and just they have so much to tell me about their lives, right? And the first thing that they always tell me is like, I'm really upset, with the way things are now, because you young people, you guys are making mistakes that you guys think are so bad, but we made even worse mistakes. But there were no cameras, and I'm just like, worse mistakes? What do you mean worse mistakes? And this is
Well,
this is not just coming
genocide.
from men, because I okay, that's a bit left, but I hope it's not that. It's not just coming from men; it's coming from the women too. The older women. Like, I used to do some crazy things that, like, the people today found out. Like, they'll look at me completely different. But you know, obviously they don't care now because they're about to die. So
Yeah.
that sounds so
Well,
morbid,
you know what it
but
is? You
old
hit
people,
something.
they talk like that.
You hit something important, and that it's the digital era. It alienates, right? I mean, and like a lot of people feel alienated. That's why we've seen, as technology has increased and social media increased, school shootings have increased and violence has increased, because people, even though we're so interconnected, we're not interconnected physically. It's digitally, and there's no physicality with digital. You can hold a phone, but you can't hold Facebook. You can't touch the person you're commenting with on Facebook.
I have something really crazy about that topic that
Yeah.
I want to express. You might disagree with me. It's crazy that you bring this up because I just had this conversation last week with one of these women that I was talking to. She's extremely smart. Been friends with her for years. And basically, I went to school to become a child psychologist, and I spent like 5 years in school. I'm studying it, and one of the things that I will never forget is how children practice vulnerability in environments where they can expect the least emotional damage from. Today, I see a whole lot of people that are legally adults, but they're children. Um, and their practice, I think social media, like, I believe, not think, I strongly believe that social media is a place where there's low chance of emotional damage, where they can practice their people skills, and eventually they're going to step outside of that, feel confident enough into the real world to be like, all right, I'm going to open my mouth and say this because I have built up such a confidence or a resilience to being badmouthed online, or I have such a support online, something that I can fall back on. And people might, disagree because it's just like, oh, well, they need to do it in real life. Social media isn't real, and children, and I'm sure this is, parents can agree with me. Children practice this with their parents. You know, children, they reach an age where they're just like, wait a second, it doesn't matter how much I scream, kick, and fight and throw a tantrum, mommy and daddy are still gonna feed me at night. They're not gonna kick me out of the house. This is probably at like age like 2 or 3 that they realize this.
Hmm.
And it's also, believe it or not, the no stage. Um, and being that they realize this, they're very candid with desiring and fighting for every and any little desire that they feel like they want and need.
Hmm.
And so now, once you see them go into kindergarten and preschool or first grade, they're gonna be shy now. All that mouth they had for their parents, guess what? Is quiet now. You know why? Because they're practicing. It's not they didn't know that they were practicing with their parents, but they were getting comfortable with expressing themselves verbally with their parents, and now they can pretend and not pretend, but they can pretend to be like quiet and shy, even though they are quiet and shy, but they can pretend to act like they don't have much to say, you know. But eventually, children are going to be comfortable enough to start opening and expressing themselves in a not in a similar manner at such a young age, but eventually, like college or something like high school, where they're going to be like, all right, I've been, verbally communicating in said healthy environment where I can speak and still be taken care. I can speak my mind and still be taken care of, right?
So
And now I could do this in college now because I'm not afraid to do this
yeah,
because I have
trademark
something to.
trademark 2200 agrees with you. He's one of our regulars here in the Twitch stream chat.
Oh, awesome!
He said, it's very interesting and for sure that, that social media, has done is where children are now training their social cues and, of course in school as well. Um
Social cues. He's a psych major too.
hanging around leftist
Yeah,
spaces
terminology.
hanging around leftist spaces makes you a field psychologist automatically. Um
I'm crying. Not exactly.
so I
There's a
mean,
lot of data we go through before we say things.
oh my god, yeah. But I understand, like I can agree that that's how kids do socialize, but to the same extent, like I disagree that it's ultimately a net positive because it's ultimately a net negative because of something you said earlier where it's like a fear of approaching someone because now we're so used to,
But it's only natural though. And it's going to be a net positive, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's going to be a net positive because guess what? They can say whatever they want, but their phone isn't going to shut down when they get blocked off of, Instagram.
mm,
Their phone isn't going to shut down. They're not going to have their phone taken away from them. They could download another app, and thus you have the re-representation of that security.
hmm. I mean,
It's going to take them years though. The same way it takes a child like years to, eventually grow to an adult to where they feel comfortable within themselves to be like, all right, I can speak my mind without being um punished for with like no food, drink, water, or safety or security, and then going to, speak out about that. Because the thing is, eventually you understand, oh, snap, like this is obviously when your prefrontal cortex is fully like developed, it's a human right to be fed. And like, you might hear it, but you finally understand it's my human right to be fed, to be safe, and to, what is it called? Fed, safe, and be clean. Have sanitation, proper sanitation, proper hygiene. Excuse me.
the thing is too is that like I understand. It's just I feel like I understand what you're saying, but I don't at the same time, and mostly just because like it's more I see alienation. I guess maybe that's my own interpretation of it.
Interesting.
Maybe like it's just
Can you speak on that?
well, for me, like I feel
I
kind
won't
of
interrupt you this time though.
no. I mean, I just feel kind of like lonely, like going through the internet. It's like I hate the dating apps, honestly. Like the only reason I really used them in college was because everyone in high school was like, "You're never gonna get pussy. You're a faggot," and at the time I didn't
Yeah.
realize it, but by the time I got close to graduating, I was like, "Oh." Um, so it was just kind of like that, and it's also just kind of like you're not actually meeting a person, and you're in your mind you're just kind of like not devaluing a person, but like you're so used to just vetting them and going on their Instagram and looking
You're
through.
deconstructing a person.
Yeah, there's no wonder
But
in
that's also
there's no
but
wonder in knowing a
so
person anymore.
um
Not that like
you're
it's
still meeting. So first thing, you're still meeting a person, right?
yeah.
Just because you're not seeing them in, what is it called, in the physical, right? You're still meeting a person. You're still interacting with them. You're still exchanging ideas and thoughts with them. All right. Now, do you have to deal with like keeping up with body language and also being aware of your own while simultaneously like either sharing your posture with somebody,
I'd rather
because
do
that's what
that.
we're really getting when we're meeting somebody,
But
right?
that's the thing. It's the complete human experience, and it's like when I okay, so like I
But
work in
sometimes we're not ready for that complete human experience because you have to be emotionally developed enough to have that experience before you do it. Because if you're not, guess what? Like that's when we get into like disorders now, because you're gonna be you're gonna traumatize yourself. That's why children like they hide behind their parents' legs when it comes to not all children, but at a certain age, if they're not secure enough in their in their relationship with their parents, they're going to hide behind or cry when somebody new enters, the room, because they're not emotionally developed enough to deal with meeting with a new person.
yeah, but the way to get
But
over
if
that.
you hear them behind a door, what if that child hears them behind the door? It's like, ooh, what's that? And it's not as scared. You know,
Well, yeah, but the thing is, most people don't have these disorders. It's mostly a practice thing, and if we're taking away that ability to practice and read and
most people don't have these disorders. What? Do you know how many people? You know how
it's
many people in like just New York right now that have just like, and I was researching this today, but that literally have antisocial personality disorder.
well, are
Like
they
all these
diagnosed that to
young
sell
kids,
drugs? Are they diagnosed that to
huh?
push? Are the therapists diagnosing them that to push drugs, or are they actually antisocial?
No, it's not. You see it all in criminality is a reflection of the
Environment.
failures of a society, right? So, go ahead.
No, it's a reflection of environment, and our environment is so heavily online based that it's also,
No, 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 no. Criminality is a reflection of how society fails individuals.
yeah,
Society as a whole. Society's job is to take care of its individuals. That's what makes it a society. It's a civilization that takes care of itself.
yes,
So when society fails individuals, that's when criminality starts to show up. Criminality is a response to the failures of the society. And so when you look at the criminality, you can literally see antisocial, personality disorders, APD, in the criminal in the rise in crime. It's not just because like it's hot and it's summer outside, like, or like people have been locked up too long. People come up with just the most insane excuses, not excuses, but just like, oh, it's because of this. And honestly, it's just like I understand, like they're trying to find some sort of answer to it, but like there's actual like data there's actual data that like describes this to the T,
well, it comes down to
and
class
it's
conflict. But what I'm trying to say,
huh
it comes down to class conflict, and I understand that there's
class conflict.
yes,
Are you what comes down to class conflict? The crime?
yeah, it's influenced by the failures of society. In a society that's skewed towards the favor of the rich, the poor suffer, and that's why most criminals that get away, well, most criminals that get caught and do things out of survival are working class, and most people that get away with it, it's white collar
Yeah,
crime.
yeah. You're saying the same thing I'm saying. You're just saying it in a more specific way.
I see what you're saying. It's just I don't know. My main point was that and I agree with you. It's just I feel that social media also plays a role in this rise of criminality and antisocial behavior because we're so focused on
Really,
yeah, I it's so individualistic and so toxic. It all points. So for
social
example,
media is individualistic.
yeah, it's all individualistic. Like for example, right? Why did Siri just turn on my wow, that's scary. I'm gonna turn off my phone really quick because my Siri just turned on out of nowhere. That's freaky. Um,
Well, it probably turns on because there's voice prompts on it. Like if you say like "Hey Siri" or something like
no,
that,
I didn't
is
say hey Siri. It just turned on when I said social media is individualistic and toxic.
I
That's
mean,
what
you go always go into your settings and turn off like the always listening, part of your device. I do that for my Android.
it always listens to you regardless.
See, this is why Android for life. Like
No,
I be trying to tell y'all, Apple
Android 2
people,
in
it's
2019, Android switched up. But that's a whole other topic. But
oh,
basically,
I mean, I have Google, so.
nah, Google, you trust Google, bro? Wait, let me make
Nah,
my
I
point.
have
Let
a
me make
Google
my
phone,
point.
so I could turn it off,
Let
and
me
it always tells me when like my mic is being used. It's a new notification on the update.
All right, that's fire. But let me make my point. Let me make my point. It's individualistic because you can choose your reality. So, for example, right? Say I like a bunch of pictures of puppies. The way the algorithm works on all these social media websites is to give me a bunch of pictures of puppies because I went and liked all that stuff. So naturally, I think everyone on the internet talks about puppies. It's the same thing with politics or the same thing with fashion.
Okay, echo chambers. That's what you're
Echo
speaking
chambers,
on.
yes. It creates echo chambers.
Now,
It
so
influences
is that individualistic or is that just an echo chamber?
it's individualism because you're
Individualism?
yeah, it's
See, the
individualistic.
thing is, what these platforms do, they only mirror what the person is putting out. So if somebody
Exactly.
is a narcissist, it's going to put out only narcissistic stuff. If
Exactly.
somebody is,
It's to
but
create the
that's not
world in your own
individualistic because
image.
you're still introducing them to a community of things and people and topics that are relating to what they're put out. To
But it's a
be
community
for something to be
it's a community that's influenced by individuals that are disconnected. The only thing they're united by is that their worldview is reaffirmed by each other and that the worldview is created in their image because look at all these people that agree with me. See what I'm saying?
that's not exactly true, and I could prove that with the comment section. And I could
It's-
also, people literally go to the comments as soon as they see a video or a picture or even a caption that shares a thought. They're just like, "Ooh, I want to see how other people react to this." And this proving my point again. That's one of the stages of development where now it's just like, all right, I want to see what my peers are into, and I want to sort of stake my my uh my allegiance with said group.
I don't know. I don't really see how that's like. I don't really think
The-
that's the logic between it. I think it's more just like I like this and this makes sense to me. You can like to a degree it's a community, but like if you're shutting everything out, it influences the way you view
but
things.
you can't shut everything out.
Well, yeah,
Like
that's
I'm
why
on social media right now. You
when the two groups inevitably come into contact with each other, they get into conflict. But that's why it's just a more intense conflict because it's like culture shock. You know what I mean? It's like, what do you mean you think like this or you like this? I hate that. Like, what? That's insane. Everyone I know thinks the opposite. Like, what? So the whole worldview gets shattered. Like, we go through culture shock almost every day. You know what I mean? That's why it's alienating because it's just kind of like everything I knew last week was true and now it's wrong. What the fuck?
it's not wrong. It's just being challenged. And again, this goes back to somebody that's not completely emotionally developed to withstand a different viewpoint.
Right.
You
But that's
know.
going to increase because all these kids are growing up on the phone instead of.
All right. If they don't have the phone, they're going to actually die from alienation,
No, they won't.
like actual alienation. And I'm gonna explain why. Right. These lockdowns keep on continuing. Right now, everything's opening up. Say this COVID thing. All right. Say forget COVID. Say tripod 3, the new virus. All right, and it comes from fish, like aquarium fish. All right, and basically, if you have an aquarium in your tank, you just attract you get it, you get it, and you pass it to humans. It's as common as a common cold. or a little bit less common than that. Because if it was as common as common cold, then we all dead. But the point of it is high infectivity, high mortality rate. Everybody's scared as hell, right? Internet's gone. Guess what? That's now you're gonna have not only alienation but isolation. We see how you want to see how quickly somebody turns into a sociopath. By just 1 week of alienation without the internet. We are literally that, especially in New York. We are literally that. Excuse me, not just New York, inner cities. We are that close to completely eating ourselves apart. All we need is to lose internet access for as long as a week, all right, and be trapped in lockdown, and and we're done. We see examples of this in the prison system, right? Somebody does a behavior that the prison has said, no, you can't do that. They get put into what's called like the shoe or the box, whatever. There's no light, no communication, and they start to like go crazy. Now, obviously, there's no light there, so that's a different sort of like psychological phenomenon that occurs there. But even still, like when you're locked in your home, even if you're with your family or your friends or your girlfriend or whoever you're with, right? For a week and there's no internet access, your sense of community is now lost, and that does so much damage to us the way we are now because we're not completely emotionally developed as a society. And that's probably why people say Americans are so dumb. We're not actually dumb. We're just not emotionally developed, and we're ignorant to that.
That's also
People
because
view psychology as or therapists as like I heard like three people say, oh, a therapist is a privilege. A privilege? So a doctor is a privilege too? When you start saying stuff like that, you understand like that's like saying, oh, food is a privilege. Like, do we understand what the word privilege means? Privilege is literally. Let me look this up because it's really crazy how people are like using words without understanding what their meanings are.
right.
Privilege. There we go. All right. So privilege means, all right,
So
and this is from Oxford. A special right, advantage, or immunity granted available only to a particular person or group. Are you telling me to work on your mental health is a special right?
I think
What?
wait, I want to get back to your original
Like,
point. Your whole point, your initial point is that, if there was a lockdown and there was no internet, people would lose their mind and become sociopaths. However, if that is the truth, we have to look at what happened when the Spanish flu happened in 1918, because the same type of thing happened. Schools were
but
closed.
were they emotionally developed though?
Yeah,
What time period was that?
that was 1918, so that was the 20th century.
1918.
Yes.
So, what was the internet community like at that time?
There
There
was
wasn't no internet community.
But that's what I'm saying. The problem is that because we're so interconnected with social media, it has decayed our social skills and handicapped us to where we don't know
What?
how to function.
No, it's
Yes.
because there's only no. It's because there's It's because of the uh inflation. There we go. Inflation. Two parents are working now. There's no like parent at home that's staying to take care of the children and provide emotional support and development. So once two parents are out and they're just like, oh, like we'll tell them to karate or blah blah blah. The whole point of the family, the reason why it's so important, is because that's where you emotionally develop before you go out into the world.
Yeah, there's
So during
economic
that
tools
time,
as
there was
well.
emotional development within the families.
It's not that
But
social.
now since you have so much. Go ahead.
No, it's not that social media is like the catalyst. I mean, we're talking about social media, so like I'm trying to say that it is a tool that has helped
Oh,
alienation. But like at the same time, it's also economic. Capitalism is alienating because you literally are like back in ye olden days.
capitalism is alienated, or is it the inflation that's alienating us?
Inflation is a tool of capitalism. It's a functionality of it. So basically,
It
the more
is, but
the
I'm
more
speaking about the level of inflation
that
because we
that
haven't seen inflation like this since what, 2008?
Yeah, and inflation, that's also alienating because it makes you have to work more.
Not
And
inflation in general, but obscenely high levels of inflation.
yeah, that's what it's same thing. We're talking about the same
It's
thing.
not the same
We're
thing.
talking about the
There's high
same.
levels of inflation versus just, a control level of inflation.
How drunk are you?
I'm not drunk anymore. I think I'm sober now.
You
A
are
controlled
what?
level of inflation, that is a biased thing to say. Not biased, but like
I'm
a
saying, look,
little bit
I'm
ignorant thing.
just saying,
Like a slow. Go ahead.
I'm just saying that yes, inflation can cause social alienation, but it's also the alienation of labor. That's the biggest one. We don't feel connected to the work we're doing anymore. Like that's a feeling that a lot of people don't feel. It's like I'm working to survive and that's it.
That I
That's
stand behind.
that's the major one, and that bleeds out
That's the
into the
major one.
community. Bleeds out into the
That's
community too
100%
because
true.
they all feel disconnected from the labor they provide. So then they try to
That's
get
thousand
gratification
percent true.
from the digital world, which
Or
then
the
bleeds
money.
out into the social because they're so used to being overstimulated in the digital that they don't know how to find stimulation in anything else.
Overstimulated in the digital.
Yes, overstimulated. It's
Overstimulated.
like how when you're
Okay,
super happy,
you're
like
right. No, no, no. You're right. I was just tasting the word for a second.
no, 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 no,
I
no.
think when you first said overstimulated, I thought you meant like they were getting too much of what they were looking for.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that was just
that's
me.
what it is. It's like when you smoke pot.
No,
It's when you smoke.
no,
It's when
they're not getting too much of what they're looking for. They're not getting what they're looking for. Because if they got what they're looking for, when human beings are satiated and they're full, they're just like, all right, I'm done with this. I can put it down for a second.
I see what you're
You
saying.
guys satiate. Sorry.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. But overstimulated, I agree with because there's so many different stimulants that it's just like, oh my god, I'm overwhelmed.
It's
And it's
kind
just
of
like, whoa,
like
like,
it's when you smoke pot and like you're super happy and laid back, but like what happens is, it releases dopamine's like the chemical for happiness. So like it taxes your dopamine system to the point where it's like normal happiness, like something that would make anyone laugh or like, be happy, it levels, if you smoke a lot of pot, that dopamine gets drained. So it's like you're not as
it's
happy.
not your dopamine doesn't get drained. Dopamine can't get drained. Your body's always producing dopamine,
Yeah,
right?
but it's like over
And
attack.
it's not just dopamine. It's over attack.
So like it's
Do
it
you
has
have
to
more dopamine that's? Go ahead.
no, it has to be like replenished in greater amounts because you used up your stores of it.
It's not about using up stores of it. It's about damaging the receptors of dopamine. I wonder if psychology dude is still on here listening.
Who?
But basically, the dude that was listening in on earlier that
Oh,
left a comment.
no, he's still going. He's still responding.
Oh, he's talking.
Yeah, he I skate with him. He's a skateboarder. Like me and him skate every now and then.
Okay, so if he knows anything about dopamine receptors, he can back me up on this. But basically, um, when it comes to dopamine, right? Think about it like this. All right, if I have a hose and there's a piece of paper, right? And the piece of paper it has three holes in it, right? The
Right.
holes, the paper is your dopamine receptors. The hose, that's a hose, and the water is the dopamine, right? So dopamine shoots out, right, and is going into the holes, right?
Mm.
Now, say I take out a fire hose. This is probably what cocaine does. um, and I shoot that piece of paper. You've blown like a whole like you're basically fucking up the piece of paper, right?
Mm.
So your dopamine receptors now are just like, yeah. This is just the most. This is a drunk explanation, by the way, or a slightly twisted explanation. I don't want to blame it all on the alcohol, but yeah, that's basically what's happening. So now it's just like, all right, after you've expelled all that water, and sure, you might not produce as much dopamine as before, but even if you're producing the healthy amount, your receptors are damaged, right?
Oh, so you
And
can't.
because your receptors are damaged, yes, it's just
Gotcha.
like, yeah, it's gonna it's, and that's why when people's like, oh, weed is good for you and shit like that,
No, it's not. It's still bad for you. But
anything that supercharges your dopamine But the thing is, it's like you can say the same thing about like love, not love in general, but like um actually no, because that's still
Wait,
healthy
let's bring it
too.
back to social media. Let's bring it back to
Oh
dating apps.
yeah,
Dating
yeah,
apps. So,
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know, this
This
all.
still connects to the dating apps. This is just like what's going on in the background, and you're bringing this background unhealed or whatever unfixed issues is coming into the dating world because now these people our age they're just like yo like does this person have money?
Mm,
And this is what Hinge is about, right?
right.
This is what I noticed. You better take me out to Maestro's, which is like a super expensive restaurant. All right, you better buy me this bag. And believe it or not, like I thought this was a joke that girls are just doing this just a joke on social media. But some of the girls that I'm talking about is, excuse me, speak. Some of the girls I've spoken to, they're just like, yeah, like I want to be treated, and it's just like treated for what? Like what did you do?
Hmm.
Like you give a dog a treat after he does a trick. I don't see you do no tricks. And now like dating has become, especially on Hinge, it's become sort of like a reward thing, right? I let you bag me, and you get to splurge what you want because 100 niggas fucked my life up before, and you got to pay for it. And
Mm,
it's just like whoa. But the same thing is on the other end with the guys, right?
mm-hmm.
Um, a whole lot of women dogs me out. It's crazy how I can say niggas, but I can't say bitches. A whole lot of it's just the climate we're in.
Trademark also
A
said
whole lot of
internet gen fucking over love.
yeah, yeah, Um, I I don't even know how to respond to that actually.
It's you know what it
That's a
is.
whole different.
It's like a lot of people end up, unintentionally commodify each other and take out, like you said,
Yes, say that word again, the c word.
commodify.
Oh yes, they're treating people like things.
That's
And
the
this
thing.
isn't just niggas. Like it's girls too.
Like sometimes,
Girls too. Commodifying guys.
yeah,
And it's
well,
just like, yo, like what?
we're trying to
And
fit
then they're
in.
gonna be like, I wanna be in love. Do you know what love is?
No one does. At least in our generation.
I wanna say no one. You talk to the old people, they know a
I'm
whole lot
talking.
about love. And whenever we talk to old people, they're just like, we think of it like, oh, we can't find that nowadays. And it's just like, well, are you doing it? You want to find it, but are you doing it?
Yeah.
Right? Because there was a time where I was just like, oh, I can't find it, and this man was just like, are you doing it? I'm like, doing what? He's just like, because when we said love is serving another person, right? Are you willing to serve another person? It's just like,
Mm.
I mean, well, I want them to serve me too. See, you're thinking about what you can get from that. That's not serving. That's a business relationship. And that's when my mind really opened up. And now
Oh.
I got fed that at a young age. And that's
Wow.
why I'm
Say
like
that
a
again.
romanticist,
Say
when
that
it comes to
again. That's
yeah, it's a business
crazy.
relationship. And the worst part is marriage, especially when it comes to like Christian marriage, in the Bible or Judaism, whatever.
Wait, can I say that
That
that makes
started
complete
from
sense? This makes complete
go
sense.
ahead.
This makes complete sense
Yeah,
because
that's why there's dowry.
wait,
Because it's a business thing.
we are literally we can't. A lot of people in our generation don't own a home. They're not moved out. Their jobs don't pay well. The taxes are high. So naturally, everyone's looking at another person is what can they provide
As a
financially.
commodity.
Yeah. Now that's sick. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
sick.
our relationships are actually a reflection of the economy, the failures of the economy.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
And
what I was trying
so
to get
it's
at.
like, yeah, this has got way deeper than
You came on my show. What did you expect?
real. That's real. That's real. But yeah, and so now you're putting two and two together, and it's just like, and I'm putting two and two together on these dating apps, and I'm just like, all right, like, so now I'm just like, all right, from now on we're doing virtual dates, because it's just like as soon as I meet these women in person, it's just like, oh, like I'm attracted to you, like I want to have sex, and mind you, before it was just like, oh, like I didn't want to do that. Like this is present day. This is like these past like 2 weeks. Honestly, yeah, past 2 weeks. And I'm just like, bro, like I'm just trying to have conversations with people.
Mm.
I'm trying to figure out like, should I really give up on this whole? Because the thing is, I was just like, I think, um, I feel like, and maybe this is just like a trauma response, but I feel like I'm done dating. Not dating, but like I feel like I'm done with like this whole like relationship thing in America. Like
Mm.
specifically when it comes to like Americans, because and specifically for the how they view mental health. They view it as something that like, oh, like I can push this off to the side. I still have time for this.
You better pull a
I
Marcus
can do this
Garvey, aren't
later.
you?
A Marcus Garvey.
Yeah, you're gonna go to Liberia. You said we going back to.
I'm
You said we out. Like
crying. I'm crying. Honestly,
we had
I
a.
don't know if I should say this online, but I was really looking at. I'm just following the data when I say this, but I was really looking at Switzerland and Finland. Um, there's just so I could talk about this all day,
You want to go
but
build bunkers in Switzerland and join the army?
the army. What?
Yeah, you have to.
No,
No,
I just
yeah,
want to go to school there.
you get drafted. If you become a citizen, you get drafted. They have a civilian army. Like everyone from the up to the age of I think like 45 has to serve in the Swiss army.
Okay, I mean that's the same thing with Israel. I had a friend that was from Israel. She served in the army. She said it was mad cool.
Yeah, but Israel kills people.
Oh my gosh, she did not kill people. Not all army people kill people, man.
Do you understand my position on Israel?
That is it. We're talking about Hinge and Tinder. All right, we didn't even get to Tinder. We still on Hinge.
Oh my
Um,
god, yeah, we are.
but yeah, it's just yeah, I'm having like the I can only have these type of conversations with men and one, two, I think one other woman. And
Yeah.
I speak to like if you know me, I'm always meeting people. I'm always talking to people, and like random people. Like I'm not even like, So for me to like I could only find like one woman and I've known her for years. And she's like extremely intelligent.
Why can't
I
you
mean
talk
she's
to
having,
women about this?
huh?
Why can't you talk to other women about this?
They just like from I don't know. I had one woman like last week. I had a woman tell me that like sometimes like um and she was saying this as a woman like you're really smart, so it's intimidating to have a conversation with you.
Hmm.
And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm just like, it's intimidating.
Some
Is
people.
that the way I come across? And it's not because I'm coming across because I asked her. She was just like, it's honestly because like they're not secure in themselves yet. And that goes back to the point that I made earlier. Like a lot of people in this country, they're not emotionally developed.
It's like when you see a beautiful girl and like you find out that she's only had like one boyfriend or like she doesn't, really talk to guys because a lot of people are intimidated by that.
Yeah, that's a lot of a lot of women say that like yeah, like I haven't really like had sex much. People assume that since I'm hot and like I always have my boobs out that I'm just a slut. And I'm just like I mean, I don't want to blame them for thinking that, but yeah, and that just goes down to symbolic interaction before somebody calls me a sexist.
No, that's true. I
If
mean,
you see
listen,
a doctor,
it could.
yeah, if you see a doctor in a doctor's robe, you gotta obviously, oh, he's a doctor. If your doctor comes to you, right, in like a T-shirt, all right, with ketchup on it, I do not want you to operate on it. Put on the outfit. You can have the Skechers on. I don't mind. You're on your feet all day. But like, I need to see the robe. All right, I need a stethoscope. You know, and so that's symbolic interaction. So if I'm like, and the woman the good friend that I have, she was just like, yeah, like she took down all of her pictures, that were provocative. All of her poses that were provocative. And she noticed a decrease in the men that were like pursuing her, like, sexually. And I'm just like, wow, like if only like a lot of other women could just like, oh, it's my body, and like if niggas want to be thirsty, they need to handle that themselves. And although you're right, you're not helping. You're not helping.
It's an emotional response because a lot of that
It's an
also has to do
emotional
with
response.
attachment issues.
And I'm sorry that like their hormones are working. It's really that serious.
It's, you know what it is
Especially if they ain't getting none, they're gonna be thirsty. And I'm not condoning, men like aggressively pursuing women. I'm just trying to explain to you, like the same way you look at serial killers and you find out, oh my gosh, like the part of their brain where empathy is supposed to be working is not working. That's why they're killing people so many times. It's the same way with like a lot of these men and women out there. I've seen some women, they just eat men.
yeah.
They eat them.
There's, you know what it is too. A lot of it, even if they're not aggressively pursuing, I'll see like the amount of likes on a picture go down if it's actually some real shit, or like, a picture of like, the trees or something, but the picture of them in a bikini has like almost a third of their following liking it. So
Yes,
it's,
yes.
and that
So
shouldn't,
they're responding to the.
it shouldn't be like that. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day,
Well, I honestly think women are more beautiful than nature, but I
aw,
definitely agree.
I think that's cute.
And I was a Boy Scout.
I was a
Okay.
Boy Scout. Damn.
I saw the stars at night. Like I'm there. I've seen all of it. Not all of it. I've seen a lot of it. And women are definitely as beautiful or more beautiful than nature.
That's cute. I don't think that's necessarily creepy. I think it's just like you're just able to appreciate someone. Um, I think that a lot of this does come down to like a lot of the negatives of social media come down to like what influences it, right? So it's based in superstructure. Whoever owns the means of production influences what comes out of it. So whoever's in charge of
Okay.
web development and the facilities that develop the apps obviously influence what comes out of it, you know?
Okay. Yeah. And it's interesting because there's a lot of people that work for these tech companies, and they've came out in documentaries saying that like they know what they're doing is not okay, and they've left those companies.
Mm.
But the other people that are in there, like the pay is just too high. Not too high, but it's high enough to where it's just like, well, damn, like
The thing is that you can't
if I fix this
you
go
you
ahead.
you can't just like you can't turn down you can turn down certain things. Like there's obviously some jobs that are just irreparable, but even like me, right? Like I work at a conservative news talk station and I'm anything but. So but it's like someone's going to do the job, and there's a difference between like, at least in my position, right? It's like I don't agree with everything on air. I don't agree with everything some of these people say. But at the same time, it's like all I'm doing is pushing a button and doing a fader, and anyone else could do that. I'm getting paid, minimum
Mm.
wage. And it's like I need to make money. That's the thing, too. People need to make money. And it's kind of like I said before, it's not the laborer that's the problem. It's not the labor you're doing. It's not even the medium. The problem is how it's being used. Like, there's nothing wrong with the military. There's nothing wrong with a United States military. But there's everything wrong with
Mhm.
using that military to destroy third world countries for their resources. It's the application of it. So it's kind of like,
Mm.
how can you turn, like, for example, if you're able to continuously turn down things for your morals, right? And I mean anything. Like you won't work at that TV station because they said something you don't like, or you won't work at that app company because you don't like how it does things, or you won't work for that magazine because of the CGI they use on women. you know you're going to isolate yourself from a lot of things. You already isolate yourself from some of the better paying government jobs. So the only thing you're really going to get that's morally neutral or positive is being a sanitation worker, a construction worker,
Woo
an
woo.
electrician. And that's not looking down. I'm just saying, like, you know,
No, no, that's why I said woo woo.
Okay. Like if you go to college, most of the time it's used to reinforce the bourgeoisie. It's to reinforce. I'm sorry,
Um,
to reinforce the wealthy. It most of the time.
I'm not.
Most of the time.
I'm not exactly sure. But did we go to a liberal school?
It doesn't matter. The point is whether
We
the
went to
school
like
is
a really like.
conservative or the school is liberal. Liberals and conservatives are capitalists. They maintain the order. Has your life gotten better under a Democrat or Republican economically? No. You know,
I mean, I never thought it was about the titles. I thought because I think what it comes down to is every person they have what they're going to do, regardless of their title.
well, there's
You know,
that
you've
too.
seen we've seen it multiple times of like, oh, I'm a Republican, but I'm not going to prescribe to this bill that's being passed, or I'm a Democrat, but I'm not going to prescribe. So what it comes down to is like, it's never been a party that I've been enemies with. And I think I've realized that, lately, throughout my life, like I've never, even though I've said it like, oh, like I'm a Democrat or, I'm a Green Party or just whatever, like I completely withdrew myself from any sort of label within those politics is simply because like I realized that not that politics are useless, but that these labels they don't matter. What matters is what are you actually going to do?
But that's the
Because
thing, right? And it's just kind of like it goes back to that example where it's like it doesn't matter like when you come out of college, you're geared to support the base, right? The producing
what?
arm. You're
What do you
geared
mean
to
geared to support a base? If I'm studying science in college, how am I geared to support a base?
because you're going to support the companies that make pharmaceutical drugs that could be provided for free, but instead are going to be marked up for a ridiculous
All right,
profit.
I
They're
have a
going to be
friend
used
that
to make
I could speak.
bioweapons.
Wait. Before you go there, because you're going real left real quick. Um, I have a friend. It's actually this girl that I met on Hinge, and she worked for a toothpaste company, right? And she said it was just like she was like wait, am I not? I think I'm not allowed to speak on this actually,
Yeah,
because there's
then
some.
don't.
Yeah,
Then
I'm
don't.
not
But
allowed to speak on
I'll
this.
take your word for it.
There's a lot of like hush hush when it comes to like working for, these big companies.
But that's the thing.
And
It's
it's crazy.
all profit.
Oh,
It's
I'm proving your point.
all profit. It's all profit. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, there's no negative to doing
Yeah,
anything in the trades or anything like, at the base level of governmental work outside of like managerial.
yeah. Like if I'm carving up tables so that people can buy them, like how am I damaging?
Anyone. But the thing is, if you're in
Yeah,
media, right? If you're in media, if you go to school for media, who owns all the media companies? The wealthy.
Viacom. Oh yeah,
Viacom. There's iHeartMedia, Cox Media. There's Odyssey. There's all these companies that they're there to make a profit, and the wealthy own all of these companies, or the churches own all
yeah.
of these companies.
Oh, and that's what reflects the relationship thing again.
Yeah, because
Guys and girls are on there to make some sort of profit. I think the guys I speak to, they're trying to. Me too. I'm trying to make a profit emotionally, right? And people that spoken to, they're trying to make a profit, financially, with financial security. And I'm looking for emotional security, or some
exactly.
of yeah.
And where do they get influenced by that? They get it through advertisement, television,
Honestly,
radio,
I think they get it
movies.
through what they do every day. You can the radio, the advertising, that's salt. But the
It's
real
salt,
meat
yeah.
is what are you doing 8 hours of your day? 8 hours of your day, you're sucking another company's.
No, it's not 8
Um.
hours anymore. It's 10 to 12. People working ten,
Okay,
12 hour shifts.
I'm just speaking on the people I know. But
Okay.
yeah, my young people, yeah. Technically, they'll do like a 12 hour or a 11 hour, but that's not every single day. That'll be like 3 times a week. That's still a lot, but I'm just saying on average, like, normally, like, it's usually like 8 hours.
I see.
Because I've spoken to people that have done the 11 hours, and especially done the 11 hours for as long as like 4 months. It's not sustainable.
No.
It's not sustainable. You will break down. You will break down. There's no, oh, I'm strong. I've done it. This, no, you're breaking down, and you don't realize that you're breaking down. And by the time you realize it, this irreparable damage. It's sad to say, but it's just like I'm tired of explaining to people that, like, oh, like, I could always put a pause on my body. My body's been doing this for this long, or I'm young, or
No. Doesn't work
talk
like
to
that.
old people, please. Like, God, like, if there's one thing that y'all listeners are listening to this for, talk to people in nursing homes. God, please, they're dying every day. And that's a whole bunch of wealth that's dying. Not people online. Stop talking to them people, especially if you have to pay them. Knowledge is supposed to be free. The only thing you pay for with knowledge is your ears and your time
Thank
by
you for
listening to
proving my
people and
point.
respecting them. Knowledge is free. If you have to pay for knowledge, you're being scammed, bro. And they could be telling you the truth, but the fact that they're charging you for the truth, that's fraudulent, bro. That's fraudulent. I own the business, all right? I myself, I teach my clients how to take care of their home. You know why they still choose to have me around? Because they don't want to do it. It's not because I'm lying to them and being like, oh, like, this is my secret product. No, this is what I use. It's Murphy's oil soap. It's really good for your floors. You should try it. But yeah, biodegradable too.
Yo,
It's
soft
cheaper
plug.
than.
Son got the soft plug.
Yeah.
But no, it's you know what it is? It's just like all of this conversation just boils back down to who has power and like how are they using it to influence our day to day. And you're right. When I was working at the early morning shifts, I was starting to get really tired. I used to go to the gym 6 days a week. And then I realized, like, I'm waking up at 4:30 in the morning, 5 days a week. Then I'm working out after. I'm tired. So then my body just was
Mhm.
getting weaker. After a couple of months, most people wouldn't be able to go to the gym after, a shift like that. So like I give myself a lot
Yep.
of credit for that, but I noticed like, okay, I'm starting to decline from this. I actually ended up starting to pray to God on my walks to work because I was just like I needed grounding. You know what I mean? And it ended
Wow.
up like making me content with my entire situation. So I was really
Really?
lucky that I was able to find beauty in my way to work early in the morning and like just laughing at things and
I'm.
just like being able to
I'm
embrace
so.
a shitty situation.
I'm so glad you brought that up. That walk. And I was researching minimalism last year, right? And I was trying to do that with the way that I live today, but um, there's a couple more things I need before I decide to, become a minimalist.
Mm,
Um, Basically, there's this married couple. They sold their car. They sold, so much of their things, even their TV, right? And people are just like, "Oh, what do you do?" And every single day, every single minute, every single second is a moment that they're appreciating and that they are present in. And you'd be surprised how these things that make life easier, things that pass time, they literally are taking away from the present.
yep. Yep.
So
Because
when you said that you did that walk, and then you started like,
and it was just a
praying,
short walk.
like,
5-minute
and it
walk
was
from my
just a
farm.
walk. My stepfather has been doing that actually too. He's been going in random woods and just looking at animals just exist in nature. He's just saying like, wow, like beavers are literally bringing sticks, random sticks from like seemingly nowhere, swimming and building not only just a dam but a home so they could go inside the dam, live in it, and then sit on top of it in a moving river. And it's just like I don't think people really have seen that happen before. I haven't seen that happen before. And I'm thinking about it. I'm just like, can we really contemplate what it's like to literally pull a stick from the ground, right? From beneath a falling tree, swim with it, right? Big ass sticks, mind you, okay? In a moving river, like a river is moving water, and create a blockage to it, little by little. And then not only just create a blockage, but also a home. That's and then some, they have the teeth. I've never seen a beaver like take down a tree or nothing like that. I don't even know if they actually do that. I know that sounds crazy, but yeah, that's how disconnected. And my stepfather said that's how disconnected. He realized that he was from before because he had never pondered these things. Like, wow, like look at these animals do this. And even like there was this show he was watching about how like this town had issues with flooding with this river and they needed a solution. It was too expensive to build their own dam, so they literally brought in beavers that built a dam. And I'm just like for free, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
what?
Base.
That's what? And it's just like, yo, these are what? How much more are we missing? And it's just like, yo, like. I have so many people tell me like, "Oh, I don't have time to." No, it's not that you don't have time. You don't make time.
That's another thing too. You
You
have to
don't
make a
make
much more
time.
conscious effort with all this distraction
You
at your fingertips. It's a way to
and
keep
and
people down.
yeah, and there's like so this weekend I was supposed to stay home because I wasn't financially able to go to Oneonta
Mm.
to spend time with my brothers. And sure enough, like I'm just like, you know what, fuck it. Like all this, I've been working for 2 weeks. Like I need social interaction. I just work, I come home. Work, I come home. So I decided like, all right, it's gonna fuck me on my bills, or it may not. Who knows? I go there, and I'm just enjoying like so much. I'm making so many new meaningful connections with people and just interacting with people. I'm just like, if I didn't go here,
Nate, you there? Nate, you there?
and I'm just like, yeah, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, you cut out for a few seconds.
Okay, so basically I was saying because I went, to Oneonta, I realized that like if I didn't go, I would have missed out on so many meaningful interactions.
Yeah.
And all I was thinking about was like, oh, I can't do this because financially I'm not able to. Because sometimes like we'll put the future ahead of the present. And even though in the present, like I was suffering because I was just like I felt so lonely. I felt like, I was going crazy. I could talk to people on the phone, but it's something about like spending physical time with people, going to a party and like, dancing with people. It's such a beautiful experience. And I am a dancer, so obviously it's gonna be way more beautiful for me.
Yeah.
But also eating with people. Meeting the people that I was talking to people that were flipping the pizza. Sal's is the best, by the way.
Mm.
And there's a new pizza guy. And I'm just like, yo, what's your name, man? And he's just like, oh, I totally forgot his name, by the way. And he was just like, oh, it's this. And I'm just like, yo, my name is this. It's nice to meet you, man. Y'all made some great pizza, man. He's like, yeah, the owner. No, I was like, yeah, I know the owner, but you making the pizza right now. You making some great ass pizza, And this dude probably thought I was drunk. I was completely sober, And it's just like, after being inside for so long, it's just like, yo, like I really appreciate like these person-to-person interactions. We're really missing out on things, man. And bringing that into the dating thing now, it's just like, yo, like talking with these girls, like on Hinge, Tinder, it's not my forte. Same thing with Bumble, but on Hinge, it's just like, yo, like I'm trying to set aside a time where I could just have a phone call, and it's like, oh, like let's talk with text first.
Oh, I hate that.
And I'm just like, all right, I'll do that. I'm writing these paragraphs. They're writing these paragraphs like, wow, like you're really cool. I'm just like, well, you should meet me on a phone call. Phone call turns into a video call. And I was just like, oh, when am I going to get to speak to you again? And I'm thinking back to when it was just like, they wasn't sure if they wanted to actually connect with me based upon pictures. And now it's just like, yo, like, I can't wait to speak with you again.
Facts.
And that's just one girl. I'm talking to a whole bunch of girls right now.
Oh
And
shit.
even though like I'm not promising relationships with them or anything like that. I'm just like getting to know them and stuff like that. Just talking to people, man. I stopped telling girls that I'm looking for friendships. 'Cause like that's not something you do on a dating app. And I know it's selfish that I'm continuing to do that, but it's just like I want to connect with people.
It's not genuine,
And
you know.
yeah, and it's not genuine. And if it was genuine, then maybe I wouldn't be looking for friendship.
And
Because
as
there's
much
a
as I want to keep talking about this, like we could probably do a part 2 about this, but
oh yeah, we're
yeah,
at 1:30 now,
we
an
are at
hour
an
and
hour
30.
and a half. And I got to
Yeah,
get ready for tomorrow, but listen, thanks for talking to me about
always a
this.
pleasure.
This is something that I've always wanted to talk about. Quick shameless plug again. Check out my website, my shop link in my podcast description. Get your Backpacking America hoodies, t-shirts, backpacks, skateboards, mugs, stickers, everything for an affordable price. I just want to see the people repping my brand. I don't really make a lot of money at it. I just want to see you enjoy it and show your appreciation. That would be
That's
fire.
real.
And check out my boy Innate Cleaning on Instagram. Nate has his fire cleaning service. He'll make love to your kitchens, couches,
Deep
sofas.
home cleaning, y'all.
Yes, with all natural products. All right, guys. Thank you
All
again
natural.
for listening to another episode of Backpacking